Hi.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Y'all, I'm a little nervous right now because I have to tell you what we're doing today, what the book that we're talking about. This has far and away been the most requested video I have had in the existence of my channel. I get people every single freaking day on every single video just about in my DMs asking me, have you read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? Are you gonna review it? Are you gonna do a reading vlog? Tell me your thoughts on it. And guys, I don't have a valid reason as to why I've put this off for so long. I'm sorry, but I'm here now. There's no more excuses. We're doing it. This book is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I read Daisy Jones and the Six a month or so ago, and I freaking loved it. That was one of my absolute favorite books of 2021, and I know this one is even more popular than that one, so I have a feeling I'm gonna love it. I know a lot of people sob over it. I don't even know what it's about, to be quite honest. I assume it's about a woman named Evelyn Hugo and that she has 7 husbands. I think, if I've heard correctly, that she's like a celebrity back in the day or something, and I guess she had a bunch of husbands. I'm like, did she kill them all? What, like, I don't know the vibes. I don't know what we're about to read. I hope and I think it's kind of in the same format as Daisy Jones. Oh, okay, I'm not reading it, I'm not spoiling it, but I thought that this was in script format in the same way that Daisy Jones was. I guess it's not. Okay, fascinating. So this is right off the bat. I didn't even know what was going on. So this is gonna be an interesting ride. I'm doing a reading vlog. I'm gonna read it with you guys. I cannot promise about spoilers on this because, again, I feel like everybody and their mother has read this book except for me. So I'm probably gonna do a thing where I get like 50 to 100 pages in, just to where I'm at a point where I feel like I have a general synopsis, and then I'll give that to you guys, and then at a certain point I'll be like, okay, I can't hold my tongue anymore. I'm just gonna give spoilers because I just feel like you guys earned it to just be on the actual journey with me of reading this. I simply don't think a review of me reading this and just talking about it is gonna do it justice for how many of you want my thoughts. So I'm gonna do a very long, rambly reading vlog where I check in at any point that I have something to say, and I think it's gonna be a good time. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started and I will check in with you guys whenever I have something to say. Okay guys, hello. I'm only 33 pages in, but the writing in this book is T90, so it feels like a lot more has happened. But I think this is gonna be the point where after this, I'm just like, screw it, gangbusters, we're going spoilers, because I feel like I got the basic idea down of what's going on, and I'm so freaking intrigued. So pretty much we're just introduced to this woman, Evelyn Hugo, the biggest movie star basically of all time, like back in the 50s, 60s. Like, she's just known for her trademark tan skin and white blonde hair and super dark eyebrows and teeny tiny waist, and she's just like a total icon. And I guess obviously she did have 7 husbands. She's very like private and elusive, and nobody really knows too much about her, but she does have a lot of like scandals surrounding her, and everybody is just dying to know like what her deal is. But I guess because she's so private, she hasn't really done many interviews over the years, and especially in the last like several decades, because now she's like 79, I think. So she's like out of the spotlight, just living her best retired life. But the book starts out, it's kind of interesting because like every other chapter kind of jumps between, or I don't know if it's every other chapter, but in the beginning here, it's like there's articles in between chapters of what's going on, so you're seeing like a media perspective of stuff while you're not in the story. Kind of fun. But the whole book starts out saying basically that she's donating 12 of her most iconic dresses that she's worn over the years to this charity. Like, she's gonna auction them off for charity for breast cancer, because I guess her daughter that she had died of breast cancer at the age of 41, and she's gonna donate the money, whatever. So after this is found out, it turns out this woman enters the picture, Monique Grant. She is a journalist in New York where Evelyn lives, and she works for this company, and I guess Evelyn reached out to the company and wants to do an interview, and she demanded it be with Monique, which doesn't really make sense because Monique isn't like a very big writer. at the company. Like, she's not a big name, but she's obviously trying to work her way up. But Evelyn is literally like, it's Monique or it's nobody. So Monique is obviously shocked by this, but she's like, I'm gonna do it. This is like the stepping stone that I need in my career. So she goes to Evelyn's and meets her, and right off the bat we can tell that Evelyn is very unique of a person. This book is already giving me like so much of Daisy Jones vibes. Like, I mean, obviously it's by the same author, it's the same sort of interesting style, the way it's being told and how it's like about someone famous, kind of retelling and rehashing and building a story. Like, it's not straight up in interview format from what I can tell, but it basically kind of is. I'm getting out of myself. Pretty much Evelyn lets Monique know this was all a ruse. I'm not giving you an article about the dresses. I don't care about the dresses. I am giving you my life story, and I want you to write a book that you will publish when I die. So Monique is like, excuse me, what? Why me? And Evelyn doesn't even want money from it or anything. She just wants Monique to be the person for her to hash all of her marriages, her movies, her career, everything. It's like a complete tell-all, which would be worth a gajillion dollars because she's always been really private. No one really knows anything about her. And Monique doesn't understand why she's choosing her, but she has to obviously take this opportunity, and that's where we're at. That's the first 33 pages, and I feel like from here on out is where the interviewing and the storytelling is going to start. And I'm already so hooked. Like, I'm so intrigued by what this is about. I mean, can I just call it here? It seems Evelyn is obviously like going to off herself, right? The way that she's like, you're gonna publish this when I die. And she's being really vague and weird about it. So I'm feeling like she's planning to, or maybe she's like sick. I wonder if she has cancer or something and she knows she's gonna go. It just sounds like the death is very much planned, because Monique's obviously like, okay, you're saying when you die I can publish this. Like, so am I supposed to hold on to it for years? And Evelyn's being really weird, so I feel like she's obviously gonna like die right after I feel like giving her this story. I'm interested. I want to keep going, and I'm going to dive right back in. Okay, hello guys. It is the next day, and I just finished with the first husband of Evelyn Hugo, and I was gonna keep going, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like I need to stop and react to each of the husbands as they go. I feel like it's gonna get more and more interesting, but like, I was immediately hooked. Like, the storytelling that she's doing through Evelyn is just, it's captivating. I'm just so drawn in by this story. Again, like, so much like Daisy Jones, she was just the most fascinating character, and I just was enamored by her, and I feel even more enamored, I feel like, by Evelyn already. I think probably because she's like so much older and wiser, and Daisy had a lot of life experiences, but I can already tell Evelyn's gonna be, it's gonna be crazy. But her first husband, Mr. Ernie Diaz, I mean, that's kind of what I expected from the first husband. I imagined that one was gonna be like a quickie one. You know, she wanted to get out of Hell's Kitchen. She wanted to get out of her sad life, and she needed a way out, and he was her way out, and I don't blame her for it at all. I know life was weird and different back in those days. You could get married at literally 18, the way that she just like straight up lied to him about her age so that she could get to Hollywood. I mean, I gotta give her props, working as a waitress, just trying to get noticed. Like, you go girl, and then fighting for what she wants. And there's already a couple quotes that I've highlighted. The quote about, I need to find it because I literally loved it so much. This is when she was talking to Monique, and Monique was like, I've never written a biography before. And she's like, when you're given an opportunity to change your life, be ready to do whatever it takes to make it happen. The world doesn't give you things, you take things. Yes, freaking ma'am. I'm just, ugh. Okay, we're going on to Don Adler now. The chapter is called Goddamn Don Adler. I think what I just read was that he was like the biggest actor at the time at the studio that she was at, and they wanted her to be seen with him for like publicity reasons. So I imagine this is gonna be like a wild ride, but yes. Husband number 2, let's go. Okay guys, hello. I haven't moved, but it has been a while. We have so much to unpack here. The Don Adler portion of this book was like 100 pages. It was a lot happened. It was a very big time in her life, clearly a very like defining moment. So I mean, they sent her out on several dates with several different like really famous actors, and she did it for the publicity, but Don was the one that really stuck and that she really felt something for, and he seems like a total just charmer in the beginning, but of course there's more than meets the eye. They end up getting, you know, engaged very publicly, and it's a big thing, but very quickly, which I've heard a lot about this being like a real thing with real people that are like in the industry and stuff, or just in general in life. I'm sure it's really hard to be with somebody that is in the same profession as you, or just be around someone all the time that is doing the same thing as you, because it's so hard not to be competitive and not to get jealous and not to, you know, feel down or bad if the other person is succeeding more than you. And obviously Dawn got very insecure very quickly as Evelyn was continuing to rise in her stardom, and he was not falling but not shooting up as fast as she was. And you know, he started becoming abusive, and it's just like, of freaking course he did. Men, I swear to God, not all men. Okay, I take that back. It's to be expected in this situation, unfortunately. But, and then, you know, we see her get kind of her big role of her lifetime in Little Women finally, and meet Celia St. James, which we find out was the love of her life. This woman has lived many lives in her lifetime. I mean, Jesus, I really love her. She's such an interesting person. Also, her friendship that we're seeing with Harry Cameron like bloom over the years, and then we learn that because I'm not, like, he's one of her husbands, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, but he is also gay as well. So it sounds like there's gonna be like a beard situation, like they're the best. Is beard offensive? I feel like I heard that was offensive recently. I take it back. They, I guess, for their own interests to, you know, stay secretive, I assume they're going to get married and then have their own little things going on the side, but then be the best of friends. I don't know. He's not her next husband though. It's Mick Riva. And then present day, what's happening with Monique is she finally fessed up to Vivant that Evelyn wants her to write the biography, and you know, she got some balls on her and actually talked back to Evelyn and was like, I can't lose my job over this. You're not giving me a timeline of when this is coming out, which I still am like, Evelyn, what is in your brain? Are you trying to off yourself as soon as this interview's over? And now she's wanting the interview to go even faster. Like, why are you in such a rush, ma'am? Like, what is happening? But she agreed. She's gonna do the cover photo. You can see Monique taking a page out of Evelyn's book and being a bad bitch and just doing what she needs to do. I am so hooked. I'm literally flying through this book. I'm so interested because I'm about halfway through and we've only gone through 2 husbands. So I assume there will be a few quickie ones in there. I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued to see what happens, like once she finishes the interview, once she finishes the book, what's gonna happen with Evelyn, what the connection is to Monique and why she wanted her to write for her so bad. There's just a lot to this and I am totally understanding the hype. I am gonna dive back in now. I will check in with you guys after we learn about Mick. Okay, it has been quite an evening. We have a special guest for husband number 3. We made it through Mick. It's getting a little heartbreaking. Obviously, if you've read it, you know at this point, Evelyn and Celia were attempting to be together, and Mick, this big rock star, makes the proclamation that Evelyn is his dream girl. And then when they're at his concert, Evelyn is a silly little goose and accidentally holds Celia's hand. And it's seen, and then it's the talk of the town. And obviously this is back in the day when that is very not accepted and very scandalous. So in an effort to distract and make people not think that, because Celia is a huge star, she's a huge star, and she doesn't want their careers to end, she's like, I'm gonna get Mick to elope with me. And it's a genius plan of her making him go to Vegas, and he does it, obviously. But her and Celia are at an impasse because, impasse? That was a very big word. Very scholarly of me. All Celia wants to do is love her, but Evelyn is scared to lose it all, which I can freaking understand, especially when Evelyn came from absolutely nothing and has been like fighting for this for all this time. It's terrifying. the thought of giving it up. Look at this. I mean, come on. So yeah, that whole fight and situation was heartbreaking. She ended up getting freaking pregnant from Mick, their little one-night stand, one-night elopement. He seemed so greasy and nasty, to be honest. I'm very sad by it. My friend, if you're watching this, Chelsea from Bookstagram, this is like her favorite book ever, and I posted on my story that I was reading it, and I told her that I was on Mick, and she was like, oh, everybody has casted Harry Styles as him. I was excited about it, but after reading it, I'm like, he's been my least favorite. I do not want to picture Harry as him, but and honestly, it makes sense. I could see it visually. But yeah, she said at the end of this, she ends up pregnant, but she gets an abortion, and now her and Celia haven't talked for 5 years. Oh my gosh, I have my Hogwarts thunderstorm ambiance on in the background. I'm very sorry if that's been extremely distracting. I'm not in an actual monsoon right now. But yeah, husband number 3, and then now I think we're going to Rex North, which she just explained was a guy that she was starring in Anna Karenina, the movie with, and she didn't want the movie to bomb because Harry was producing it. Harry Cameron was producing it. So she marries her co-star. What a life this woman has led, I swear to God. It's so, again, it's so good. I'm flying through it. She's so captivating. Her story is crazy. I'm very interested to see, like, she said her and Celia didn't talk for 5 years, so obviously she's gonna like come back at some point. I wonder if she comes back and that's when she marries Harry so that they can like, so that she can be with her. But then obviously she dies somehow. They all die somehow. She's the last one standing. I don't know. I'm also interested in Monique's storyline. Her ex-husband, or husband she's divorcing, just texted her. It just keeps getting better. Okay, hello guys. It is a different day, but I just finished the Rex North section, and that marriage was completely a publicity stunt, and it worked in the best possible way for both of them. I mean, it was both win-wins. Like, their movie went huge. Evelyn ended up becoming like the highest paid actress in Hollywood. They signed like a 3-movie deal, and they were able to like very comfortably just like live together and live separate lives, and then also make people think that they were actually together. And I mean, good for them that that worked out the way it did. But then, you know, we find out in the process of that Celia has married some NFL player, and it kind of ends, their marriage ends because Rex has fallen in love with another girl and she's pregnant. And in the best way possible, again, it works out because they end up deciding that they'll stage that they both had affairs in the middle of filming a movie where I guess in that movie they had an affair. So Rex is gonna have the affair with this woman that he's gotten pregnant, and then Evelyn is gonna have an affair with Harry, and it's gonna make so much sense because they've known each other for so long, and so they had to like stage paparazzi pictures, and it's honestly genius. And Harry and Evelyn's friendship just like makes my heart explode. I mean, they've both have gone through very tough things, and they've been there for each other through so much, and the way that they are both kind of the only people in the world that know everything about each other. And I mean, it sucks that they can't just be who they want to be, but it's so great that they are able to be together and have a family together, because they both want that. Even if they aren't like in love in that type of way, they can both give each other what they want, and I think that's really beautiful. Like, you don't always have to be like in a true physical relationship with someone to love them. And I mean, they made the best out of the situation that they've landed themselves in. So I'm about to start Brilliant, Kind-Hearted, Tortured, Harry Cameron, and see where that goes. But this section just ended with Monique saying, I have no idea that in less than a week Evelyn Hugo will finish her story, and I'll find out what this has all been about, and I will hate her so much I'll be truly afraid I might kill her. So like, where is this going? I mean, it's very good, but it's like, I need to know where this is going. I'm just so confused what all of this is about, and like why she's telling this story and what happened with everything. I'm definitely finishing it tonight though, because like I just need to know. So we're gonna power through the Harry Cameron section. I feel like this one might make me a little bit weepy, but let's go. Okay, I'm in the middle of Harry's section, but I must pipe in because I think I forgot to mention Harry had been seeing the guy that Celia was married to, the NFL player. So it was obviously a very nice situation, him and Evelyn getting married, because Celia and John are married. So then they literally would just double date, and then Celia and Evelyn were together, and Harry and John were together, and Harry and Evelyn obviously like love each other closely. Like it's a beautiful four-way friendship situation. But as the story goes on, they've been together for 7 years now, Harry and Evelyn, her longest marriage, and they both want to have a kid. And you can tell that Celia is very like hesitant about it. Loki just didn't want them to do it. She never wanted kids, and now they've had this kid, and Evelyn is so happy, Harry's so happy. They love this kid, they love each other, obviously still platonically, something like that. But I don't like Celia. I'm saying it, hot take. I think I didn't like her from the beginning a little bit. There's just something about her. She's really freaking insecure, and I get it. I'm sure being with someone like Evelyn, it's probably hard not to be insecure, and especially during this time, you know, being attracted to women when that's not a very publicly okay thing. I'm sure it's hard to not think at any minute that Evelyn's gonna leave her for a man, especially when she's been with men previously. But it just is irritating to me how insecure women in general, I just have a hard time. I'm like, girl, get it together. Like, or if you're insecure, everybody's a little insecure, obviously, everybody. But don't show it. Don't freaking be whiny, and don't be mean because you're insecure. Don't take it out on other people. And Celia just constantly does that to Evelyn and constantly like drags her down, and it's a very kind of toxic relationship, I feel. So yeah, I just got to this part where Celia has come back from filming her movies, and she's like staking her claim, like living in the house, like insisting on making breakfast, and I can just tell like things are probably gonna go a little sour. And also she's insisting on Evelyn taking this role as like a sexy bombshell, because clearly Evelyn says like that's what she wants her to be. She doesn't want her to be a mother. She wants her to still be this young hot thing. And so she ends up starring in this movie, and it's opposite Dawn, her first like real husband, I guess second husband, the one that was abusive. So very scandalous, but I feel like some things are about to start unraveling a little bit. Hopefully, not hopefully, but with Celia, I don't know. All right, I know it's easy to like be outside of a situation and just look at it and be like, you're dumb. Why are you like this? What, like, this doesn't make any sense. You're being unfair. But like, okay, look, I have two things to say. I think Celia is completely freaking selfish, and Evelyn is a star. She's a massive star. She knew this getting into this with her. Her saying you can't do a scene acting in a movie because it'll make me sick, even though it's not even real and I know this is your job, is so freaking selfish and annoying and stupid. And her literally telling her, no, you can't do that, when she's like the highest paid actress in Hollywood, and like, it's absurd. It's literally absurd. Like, literally fuck off. But also, in the same coin, every person has a right in their life to be selfish. You need to be selfish for yourself. You need to look out for yourself, and you need to know what you deserve. So if she thinks she deserves, well, everyone deserves to be fully loved by someone and given that person to give them everything. But clearly, Evelyn is not that person for you, and it can't happen. If you are going to be this way and you expect these things and you need every ounce of someone's time and love and affection, and you need to be publicly loved, then Evelyn is unfortunately not your girl. And I know that's so easy to just say, but like, you can't control her life and her career in that way, sister. And I mean, it's good that you're walking away. She walked away. But that whole situation, I'm just like, what? Like, just, She clearly loves you. She doesn't love Don. We know that. Of all people, of all the husbands to be jealous of, it's like, he's the last person she would ever like be with again. So why would you let that break everything that you've been through? I don't know. I'm a little bit heated right now. That sucks. And she fought to get her back and she walked away, as she should. I mean, they shouldn't keep trying this. Obviously it's not gonna work. It's getting a little toxic. Yeah, I'm annoyed, but let's keep going. Let's finish this. Okay, we're getting towards the end here, so I feel like we're gonna be checking in a lot, but John passed away. I don't know if I said that already. He had a heart attack and Harry was distraught about it. Super heartbroken. And then Evelyn finally won her Oscar for a movie she was in after all these years, and then Max Gerard confessed his love for her and she felt desire for the first time, and I guess probably like, well, she always felt it was Celia, but I guess desire where it could work, like with a man, you know, like legit physical desire. And she like brings it up to Harry and he's like, there's really no reason for us to stay married anymore. You don't have Celia, I don't have John. We could stay living down the street. I'll literally come over every day. You deserve to be loved. And it just like, the way that he doesn't care about, you know, keeping up the images or the reputation, like he just wants her to like have the opportunity to be happy, like truly happy with someone that like she loves and can love. And I'm just like, Harry is my whole heart in this book. Like he's the best freaking character out of anybody. But yeah, now we're on to husband number 6, I guess. Yeah, Max Gerard. Disappointing Max Gerard, it says, so maybe this won't last too long. I feel kind of bad for their daughter. I wonder if she was ever let in on everything that happened, because at this point, I think she's like 5 or 6 when they get divorced, so I don't know. Evelyn has made it clear that she's not a good person, and she's about to, I think we're about to find out some horrible things. Okay, so Max is trash and he definitely doesn't love Evelyn. He just loves the idea of being with Evelyn and being seen with her, and it lasts all of 5 seconds. Well, they're still together at this point, but you can tell there's no like legit love there, and it's just wasn't the move, but she's like too embarrassed, or she just doesn't want to get divorced again, so they're still together. And I must give credit where credit is due. Celia and her are kind of reconciling a little bit over letters. She won another award and she kind of made a comment about her in her speech about, if you're tempted to kiss the TV, don't chip your tooth. Like Evelyn knows, she's talking about her obviously. And they write letters and Celia admits she was insecure and she shouldn't have stood in the way of her career, and she saw the film and it was amazing and she's always been amazing and blah, blah, blah. So I have to give her credit for admitting her faults, and just at the end of the day, they clearly weren't quite meant for each other, but they want to try to be together again. But after Evelyn informs her that Max is not like Rex or Harry and that he definitely doesn't know about them and wouldn't be okay with it, it sounds like they probably cannot be. But this is painful. She's in her like mid-40s now too, and she's like having to compete with these young girls, and I think being told for so long that the only thing she really had was like her looks and feeling that way herself. It's like, what do you do when those are gone? And I think Evelyn's starting to feel really empty at this point in her life, which is very heartbreaking, but yeah. Okay, so I don't even know what I last said. So Evelyn ended up going to see Celia and they wanted to try to make it work again, but Celia lets her know that she has emphysema, like a disease, and she's really only gonna live like 10 more years, and they decide they want to live the rest of those years out. Evelyn's done, she's ready to give it all up, and you know, but the kicker is she needs Harry and she needs Connor to be able to be wherever they are. And so they talk about like moving to Spain together, just like moving away, and it turned out that like Harry had met someone new too, and so they played with the idea of them marrying each other again, and seeing where that went. Like Evelyn was gonna marry Celia's brother, and then Celia was gonna marry Harry's friend. It was gonna be a whole thing again, but Harry ends up freaking dying, and that's where I'm at. if you're wondering why I'm not crying, I don't know. Something's wrong with me. It takes a lot for me to cry, and like this is freaking heart-wrenching. But the physical tears, just because the physical tears haven't come doesn't mean that I'm not sitting here like freaking in my feels hurt about this. The speech she freaking gave him like as he was dying about like he can go if it hurts or whatever, like that stabbed me in the freaking heart. And where I just left off, it seems that Connor is a bit of a wild child and she's getting into some bad things. We're getting into the end game here. I don't know. There's one more husband left, right? I don't remember who it is, but let's see. Okay, so I'm dumb. She did end up marrying Celia's brother, and he became a little part of their family, and Connor loved him, and they spent the rest of their days in Spain together, and her and Celia technically kind of got married. They just did it at their home together. It was beautiful, and then they got to spend 6 years together before Celia freaking died. Not to be so depressing, but like getting older has always like scared the shit out of me, but just the idea of like when you're older and like the people you love just like slowly dying off, like seeing Evelyn at Celia's funeral that is at the same cemetery that Harry died at, and going straight from like her funeral to his gravestone, I'm just like, holy shit, like that's so freaking sad. But her doing that at the gravestone and like paparazzi taking pictures of it with the headline like Evelyn Hugo dies at her, or cries at her ex-lover's like gravestone, when in reality it's like she's crying over Celia. Like she's crying because she misses Harry too and she like wants to talk to him, but she's crying over her loss of Celia, but that story is never gonna get across. So that's where she decides like, I need to get a book written about me because that's the only way anyone's gonna know, truly. And I have only a handful of pages left, so I'm like, what the heck are we about to find out? What is the connection to Monique? Monique's little side story with her marriage was kind of like, I guess the idea is she like is learning from Evelyn's wisdom, and she's the one who empowered Monique to ultimately end her marriage. But there just like wasn't much to that story. Like her husband showed up and it's like, we should try to make this work, and she's like, no, we shouldn't, we're better off. Like, you're not my other half, the way Celia was Evelyn's other half. I just feel like it was like a little bit of an unnecessary side story trying to give like Monique some meaning in this, but obviously they're somehow freaking connected, so let's see. Okay, the bombshell was dropped, and it was a good one. She did a very good job of not at all, I had no freaking idea this was coming, but the second it happened, I'm just like, are you kidding me? So the man that Harry had been seeing, the one that I didn't mention, but died with him in the car crash that Harry caused because he was driving drunk. Like the one that Evelyn essentially framed as being a drunk driver and dying on his own so that Harry didn't look bad, and so that Harry wouldn't have gone to jail if he would have survived, was Monique's dad. So Monique finds out in a matter of like 30 seconds, not only, so all this time she thought her dad had been driving drunk and died in a car crash when she was 7. He wasn't drunk driving, and he also was having an affair on her mother, and also it was with a man. Like, is that not, that's a lot to take in a matter of like 10 seconds. I mean, she's obviously distraught over it. He left behind, there was a letter that Evelyn had found that he had written to Harry, basically saying, I can't go to Europe with you because my daughter means the world to me, and I'm not gonna leave my wife. I can't break up my family, but I love you, and shit. Ugh, these people. We literally have like 15 pages left, so let's see. I'm really feeling like Evelyn is going to like overdose or something. Like, it sounds like she's ending her own life. I don't know. Okay guys, I just finished. It's very late at night. I'm sorry if this lighting is a little bit atrocious, but it's what we have to work with right now. I'm not quite sure what to say. This book, Taylor Jenkins Reid in general, let's start with her. Her writing and her mind is so incredible. She has this way of writing that is so Like the way she writes her female characters, especially, I feel like I've used the word captivating far too many times in this video, but they're just they're truly so captivating. They're very sure of themselves. They're just such badass women. I've only read this and Daisy Jones and the Six, so that's what I have to compare it to. And Evelyn was just such an interesting character, and she was just such a, what I appreciated is that she didn't try to act like she was in the right. Neither did Taylor Jenkins Reid as the author. Like, Evelyn was not meant to be the hero of this story. She wasn't even meant to be like the misunderstood, broken Hollywood actress that, you know, did these bad things, but at the end of the day, she did it for a good reason. Like, it's out there. It's downright, like, she was not a great person, and she made some crappy choices, and she climbed over to everyone she needed to and hurt everyone she needed to become the successful star that she was. And it was a really interesting story. It was her entire journey of everything she's been through. The husbands, honestly, were such a small part of the story. Obviously, they kind of made up the whole story, but at the end of the day, you know, it wasn't her husband's that was, you know, the star of her life. It was her wife. And I mean, the book ended like I assumed it would. Evelyn ended up overdosing, taking her own life because she did actually have breast cancer. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but she had breast cancer just like her daughter did. And she's alone and at the end of her days anyways, and it was ironic that the thing that made her huge and made her a star was her breasts, and that's ultimately what was going to kill her. It's like really ironic and really sad and kind of dark, but I really like the book. The writing of this book was like a 6 out of 5, like fantastic. I do feel like Monique's character, to be completely honest, was like a little flat for me. I know she just served as the purpose of being like the narrator of this story. We got the little twist of like how they were connected. But she personally didn't do too much for me, but I guess she didn't really need to because Evelyn was the star of the show. This book was really freaking well written. It was really good. It was really fascinating, the historical aspect of it all. Super different from anything I normally read. But I will say, personally, I preferred Daisy Jones and the Six over this. I feel like that's a hot take because I think everyone and their mother, like, this is their favorite book. I've heard it so much, and it was really, really good to me, like, quality-wise, but I think just enjoyment-wise, this is not, like, one of my favorite books ever. I think it was really well written and the story was really well told, but I can't say I'm gonna be like dying to reread this over and over. And I think just personally, when it comes to me preferring Daisy Jones and the Six, I think I'm just more personally interested and invested in like the 70s music scene than I am the old time Hollywood scene. I just think that setting was like a little more fun and just interesting to me and nostalgic to me, and something that I found a lot of joy in, where this was just kind of like the story of a really rough up and down roller coaster of a life of this very just troubled, broken sort of woman. Not quite broken. I mean, she took it. She took the life she was given confidently, and she wasn't gonna let it beat her down, but it was very good. I'm literally talking in circles, but this book is just as good as everyone has made it out to be. I 100% understand the hype. Like, it's really a fantastic read. It was an absolute page turner. Every time I started to read it, I was just flying through the book because it was just captivating. Word of the day. But yes, guys, there it is, the most requested video and review I've ever had on this channel. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have read it. It is done. I am for sure going to be reading more books by Taylor Jenkins Reid, so give me your favorites, your recommendations down below. She has several other ones that I definitely need to check out. I hope she writes more books in the style of this and Daisy Jones and the Six, this sort of like documentary retelling, because it's just so freaking fascinating. But yeah, if you guys have read this book, give me your thoughts down below. I know you guys will. God, Harry. I'm still thinking about Harry and their friendship and their, freaking, I love it. But yes, that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.